So I was really excited about making you a Dyneema video this week. We'll have to save that for next week because I really think it'll be helpful to share with you about how I think tariffs will affect you as a consumer of gear. Because I want you to understand your gear more than you do, including how they break, how to use it, how not to use it. But if you understand what it takes to go from making it to your gear closet, I think that would be helpful. I am typically apolitical in nature, and this channel is apolitical, and so I'm going to stick with facts. And so to help you understand how gear is priced, $100 retail price piece of gear typically costs me about $60. And sometimes I pay for the shipping to me, which starts to eat into that pretty quick. And then sometimes I don't. I have to pay to ship it to you for free. And those costs in the last 2 years have gone up 20%, but we have maintained our $69 free shipping threshold, mostly because I think that's funny and I don't want to creep that up. So you start to eat more and more of the margin. Credit card fees are 3% on average, and it yada yada. It costs at least 10% to fulfill. Sometimes it costs 5% to get on our shelf. We'll get more into the margin in a minute, but that 40% margin, believe me, is important to sustain business. So if a $60 item now costs $120 with 100% tariff for easy math, even though today it went up to 125% for China goods, if it went up 100%, that's $120 costing me, which means I have to make that retail price $200. And by the way, I don't decide most of the retail prices. So this isn't whether or not I want it to happen, it just will. That $100 thing becomes a $200 thing. That is a big jump. And if there is a 25% tariff, then it's going to go up 25% for you if that 40% margin is maintained. And there's not a lot of levers you can pull as a retailer to get that down. I think it's really important because I don't know if everybody realizes that Xi Jinping doesn't pay the tariff. I do. And then I have to give it to you. And so I think it's really important to understand that the person buying the goods, the last person to receive it, the consumer, is going to be paying these tariffs, not China or Europe or Canada or all the people that they're getting tariffed. I don't think the consumer is going to feel it as fast as I'm seeing it. I've already received a $5,000 bill for a $20,000 shipment from La Paz. They lowered the tariffs from Europe after I got that. And that's $5,000 I wasn't expecting. And with our bolt, in our channel, I don't charge much for bolts. There's definitely no margin in bolts. So it's like, I have to increase my prices. So then I have to decide, am I going to wait till I sell that stuff down and then put that on and then raise that price? But what if it just went down. And so then do I have to unload all this at a higher price and then it'll go down and it went back up. It's like even no matter what direction it goes, it makes it very hard to price this stuff. And that's why oftentimes when it goes up, it stays up. Because even if they bring tariffs down, everyone now has their shelves stocked with inventory that they overpaid for. The other big issue that I'm concerned for small businesses, I tend to have enough cash flow because I'm a top rope tough guy, whether it's rock climbing or business, that I can fulfill all the promises that I've made, but I have 90 vendors and they have 90 promises. And I had to have a real interesting conversation every day now with different vendors. 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? I talked to somebody who's like, hey, you can pay me, right? Because I ordered $30,000 worth of stuff and they don't have $30,000 kicking around. And now it's going to be 60. And they definitely don't have 60. And if I was up to here, then I'm like, well, I only have 30 to give you. How are we going to do this? Then they are screwed. And I think small brands are going to suffer if too many people short them because they don't have a lot of cash flow, if any at all. And I think small climbing shops are going to suffer because we as climbing shops have 90 promises out there. And if 80 of them doubled on the way to us, they custom make a rope for me. I can't say, oh, sorry. You like, somebody gets screwed in that. Either I'm paying a ton more or they just are sitting on rope they don't want. So cash flow is an interesting thing because there's only so much of it before you're out of cash. And this will be extremely interesting if I, by this weekend, how much even the things change. I don't know if the percentages will stay where they're at, up or down. I had a conversation today with another vendor who's asking what I thought about us both going to 0% margin. These are the conversations we have to have. I had another conversation with a vendor who might sell direct to the consumer. And they're an okay brand. They ship like normally brands do. But as a consumer, you would not want that level of customer service. Amazon has raised the bar, and we try to be extremely reliable when we ship. We try to make that very convenient for you. You wouldn't necessarily get that. Maybe you would. You definitely wouldn't get that from all the vendors if you had to go directly to every single one of them. They're all actually very hard to work with. I'll be honest about that. They don't ship to me like I ship to you. And that's my job as a retailer, is to smooth out that supply chain, put it all in the same room and send it to you the day you order it, or it's free. They don't do that. And so if you have to go directly to a bunch of vendors who don't have that philosophy, that could change how you experience climbing if you're buying in America as an American. So those conversations with just the American brands, the Chinese vendors, very interesting conversations. Some are like, hurry and buy. And I'm like, I can't promise a $20,000 order and then it turns into 60. I can maybe do a $5,000 order because I want to get this thing started, but and then I have to boat everything. No more air shipping. When are you going to get those sleeve bolts in? They get 3 emails in the last 3 days on that. I don't know. A little while plus 30 days for everything to come on a boat. And the reason it has to go on a boat is because it's cheaper to ship on a boat. And I believe, I have to scratch this itch a little bit more, I believe the tariffs on the shipping and the product cost. So I really need to get everything down as far as I can. And so I can't airship things I was air shipping. And I have to boat everything now. And the economics of a store is very interesting because I didn't know this before. I started a store as a climber. We have grown in the last 2 years. And almost all the money is the money I invested. I am not getting rich off this. I have $900,000 on the shelf as of I just did budget today. $915,000 on the shelf. There's $178,000 of gear that I've already paid for that people owe me that is not on the shelf. And I do not sell what I do not have on the shelf. So I just sit on that. And as soon as I get it, I've already ordered more stuff. So it's constantly $100,000 to $200,000 of gear. And in case you don't know, I, in 2 weeks, have a total of 10 employees, 4 contractors, and a partridge in a pear tree. My bills are about $100,000 a month. So I have to make $100,000 a month with that 40%. 30, it takes 10% to fulfill. With a 30% margin, I don't have that on bolts, by the way, which is 25% of what we move. I have to pay all those bills with that product that people might buy less of because it's more expensive. And now if I have to put everything on a boat, that delays it all 30 days to get to a dock. And then it has to go eventually on a truck and then eventually get to me. Does that even save fuel? Yeah, rocket fuel's not cheap, but neither is trucking stuff from New York, besides the environmental impact. The entire climbing industry is oil dealers at the end of the day. Everything's plastic. The cash flow aspect of that is now the part that's not on the shelf is going to increase substantially because as soon as that boat shows up, I'm going to have a boat constantly on the water with product on it. And so that's more money tied up for less on the shelf, more delays than I would like. I'm trying all the time to not run out of stuff when people show up. In order to clarify something I had to clarify with a friend, YouTube ad revenue is a myth. I make $2 to $3 grand on YouTube ad revenue. Well, that's not bad. I have $100,000 a month in overhead. And I have no one helping me with content. We're doing about 350,000 a month right now. I have to get this to almost 600,000 to 700,000 a month before I can hire somebody who is able to do what I do in here and an editor who can make videos watchable. I have tried and tried and tried to hire editors. They're not cheap if I found them. Moral of the story, YouTube ad revenue is a myth. So the store is important. So I'm not just worried about people in their climbing gear when everything is going to cost more. There are bigger problems to deal with. And I don't want this whole video to be doomsday. I just want it's important for you to understand that if you're an American, you're paying the bill. So we don't make much stuff here. For the few brands that do make stuff here, they use globally sourced materials. On the brighter side, I've got 50 strategies on how we're going to add value, crush. We came up with a tagline bag today that is incredible. Slack Snap's taken off. Touched a product today I cannot wait to make a video about. And there's a product I signed an NDA about that I obviously would love to tell you about if you can't tell. It is neat to be in the position that I'm in now because I do help steer certain things because I can see a good idea and get it kickstarted. And a little bit of stoke goes a long ways when you have an idea as a new brand and somebody like me can come along and go, I will buy $20,000 for that thing, make a video and make a big deal about it. And it's like planting a seed. And so I'm doing that all day long. I work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is 8 o'clock at night right now. It is fun. That's the fun part of the job. And I think that how not to will be fine because I'm a top rope tough guy and I'm not over leveraged and I'm not riddled with debt and I'm marketing as long as I'm willing to crank stuff out. It doesn't cost me like it does other brands. And so I can really lean into this, grind a little bit harder, get through it, we'll be fine. I am concerned about other small brands and small stores. We'll see how it shakes out. Besides the things that I was excited about before the tariff thing started, I also have a dozen ideas on how I'm going to work really hard to keep those prices as low as possible. And if they go back down and the whole tariff thing blows over, how quickly I can get prices back to what they basically are right now. Now, I appreciate comments for the algorithm, but please be kind. Please keep it as apolitical as you can. Try to be helpful. Try to add value to this world. Thanks.